Fish and chips. Steak and beef. Chicken-a-chow. Grapes and eggs. Steak, eggs.
Are you hungry?
No,
You look to
make
be
it
a bit-
stop! Are you a fan of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared? Well, this video you're about to watch is a fan's hastily written analysis of the first episode of the new season of said show. This was made in the middle of the night because I couldn't sleep due to paranoia that common household objects were going to strangle me in my sleep. Welcome. Also, before you watch this video, make sure you've seen this episode. Like, everything that I say is kind of out of context, so, you know, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about, you know what I mean? In the opening theme song, there's three of us. They show the characters building something in pictures. Poor Yellow has accidentally cut his hand. I'm sure that's not foreshadowing anything. You probably noticed a lot of this already, but Roy is looking in on them through a hole in the wall here. Actually, a ton of stuff is going on in this opening sequence. Firstly, there are the spines of the books, which have symbols relating to this episode and the final episode. Then there's this strange runic inscription that might be more sinister than it first appears. The duck spoke and I was slightly put off. No over-the-top autotune? Next you'll tell me some people found the autotune incredibly annoying and unnecessary. But then uncomfortable silence saves the day and reminds me immediately of everything that I loved about the original series. How about we give it another 20 minutes? Red says. No, it's too dull, replies Duck. As I scroll through Reddit looking at some of the more negative reactions to the new episodes, this ends up being many fans' main concern. This idea that the show doesn't have gore quick enough, that focusing on character development is somehow boring or too mainstream. But you know what? Only dull people think things are dull. Notice that the calendar in the back says June 20th, meaning the events of this episode must take place only a day after the events of the original series. Behind the briefcase here, we can see a can of Duck. Noticing this actually ruined my whole day. So thanks for forcing me to relive old nightmares for your entertainment, you sadistic viewer, you. Silly Yellow. He thinks the welt on his back is a job. What in the holy hecking Opeth seminal opus Blackwater Park is that? As has become DHMISMO, the teacher in this episode is absolutely misleading our favorite couple and their adopted child. The singing briefcase explains they can be whoever and do whatever they want to in life, but as it turns out, they actually don't get to choose. They are led to where they are wanted and kind of just dropped off to fend for themselves, which is pretty much how real-life employment works 99% of the time. Notice he also tells them very little about the actual responsibilities of the jobs he's offering. For example, he tries to spin being a judge as, you can be the one who bangs the hammer when he's angry. We also gain insight here as Duck tells us that he's inventing crypto, but based around respect. And taking what he says later in the episode into account,
How strange. They're pretending they don't respect me.
I would say that he truly believes that everyone respects him. In this new series, we actually get a lot more of the idea of the characters of these puppets than we did in the original. Unemployed Brandon's novel is called The Ultimate Forgiveness, and I think that might be what Brendan is looking for. But like nearly everything else I say in this video, that's just speculation. A random YouTuber's speculation! The nature of the show has changed from the original series. As I said in my video where I rant and rave about the genius of the new season, I found the biggest switch to be in the tone of the show. While the OG 6 episodes were more horror-driven, these 6 new episodes are more comedy, with some horrific moments. The episodes are longer, so the build-up is more of a slow burn, which I think ultimately allows the terror and existential dread to be a lot more meaningful. Anyways, as the briefcase leaves them to their fate, we hear a ringing phone. No, stop it, stop it! Notice all the worker hats have a smiley face. Duck tries to make something. It's not like the bits and parts the assembly line is attempting to create, so the workers destroy it. But Duck says something significant here.
My thing that I did.
He felt as though his creation had value, but it was crushed in favor of making something that conformed to the arbitrary standards imposed by the workplace he was forced into. Remember kids, green is not a creative color. Every single warning sign in this area has a silhouette of Duncan, which I thought was hilarious. When Duck takes Duncan's smile helmet off, his brain is screaming, which I thought was interesting when you later think about the scenes with the Hound. Is it just me, or is the printer trying to fuck the red guy here? Like, am I crazy, or what? Hi there, how are you? How is your child? I have no idea if it is, but this little vending machine guy sounds like David Firth. Obvious little commentary on workplace food here, with everyone getting tainted water, lasagna, and cigarettes for lunch. And the mindless, meaningless workplace banter is very direct parody. Interesting that Duck needs a meal token. I wonder if that's something that'll come up again later. Red shows us here that power corrupts, since he could fire or kill someone, potentially the whole world.
Fire me!
Okay, calm down. I mean,
Fire him or kill him.
Fire the whole world!
The Hound flyer is amazing. I wish I could work his hours. Plus, the dog just saying yes in the speech bubble is really, really funny. Red guy says working hard or hardly working here, which is referenced later, and he assumes someone else will wash his hands for him. He ended up getting exactly what he wanted and is able to do nothing for the rest of his life as the boss of Petersons and Sons and Friends Bits and Parts Limited. Also, I was having trouble at work, so I called the diagonal number, and guess what happened? Oh, look, nothing. Notice all the emotions on the emotion family are a bit odd. I hate everything. Grr. This song is really sad and something that many people go through on a daily basis. The counseling jargon attempts to confuse and gaslight the duck into misidentifying his emotions. The books of overanalyzing the mental psyche actually make him fall into the abyss. The charts shown mean nothing. Whisper your problems directly into the mouth of the Hound as I helplessly scream, unable to defend myself against the overwhelming terror of this goddamn puppet! Notice that his hat is now a smile. His emotions were regulated, and the Hound made him happy. The Hound is a therapist whose only concern is getting employees back to work by any means necessary. But the way that this is portrayed brings up some questions I think we should all ask ourselves. We, the audience, know that he has lost the plot. He has been significantly changed, and any sense of self or free will is gone. However, he is happy, and supposedly unaware. Is he better off this way? The entire episode seems to represent how workers are brainwashed into becoming little more than corporate slaves, and taught that that's their lot in life, while being distracted by meaningless nonsense. The card here seems to say time flies when you're having fun. Red guy says fond farewell, and I just have one thing to say. It's just a fond farewell to a friend. This isn't what I'm like. It's just a fond farewell to a friend who couldn't get things right. Okay, so I'm afraid to ask, but how does this work? The episode gets claustrophobic as the duck realizes decades have gone by, wasted by the drudgery of bits and parts. Yellow then has a little accident. I think that Yellow being too old to work leads him to getting his hand crushed. It's almost symbolic, as he is now a defective and faulty product of the company. Neither Red nor Duck had any idea how the company worked, and neither did much to deserve the management position. I felt like it was Yellow who ended up being most qualified for the job, but he simply kept his head down and found fulfillment in other things like his family. The workers' reaction to this accident is the best. How they cheer and jump around with excitement is adorable. This guy even says, "This does help me appreciate not being in an accident. I feel so alive!" Instead of the deadly disaster being treated like the tragedy that it is, it's used by the company as an example to their employees. Just be glad this isn't happening to you. The money at the end literally blinds Duck to what has happened. Everything is forgotten. I like to think that was a meal token, but sadly nothing on the coin confirms this, so that's just headcanon. The whole ending couple of scenes are chaotic, strangely beautiful, super dark. It's very well done, show's amazing, it's a deranged fever dream, and I'm all here for it. Be sure to subscribe, and tune in next week for my new baking show, Cooking with Grandma, the only baking show where we use the flesh of humans for our meals. In all seriousness though, if you liked this video, there could be more! If this gets to 300 likes, I will make a similar video for episode 2. And finally, a little bit of self-promotion, but if you want to know how I learned to use my brain to get creative, watch this video right here, this one. Oh yeah, baby, this is the one, this is the video you should be watching. Today, the Pope didn't get killed. He's perfectly fine, and he's on vacation in Aruba. In other opposite news information. Oh, it's always about you, isn't it? Can you believe this guy, ladies and gentlemen? He's got his own news show. He's got a normal name.